Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me read out the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it. No, you don't like it, no. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rewriters Room. We are the men with the pen. I am, of course, one third of our illustrious trio, Armand Sadler, the John Cena of journalism, the Roman Reigns of rhetoric, the Brock Lesnar of broadcasting, the Paul Heyman of podcasting. And I will say, if there is anything I wish that I could rewrite in life, it would be the results of the 2024 presidential election. But we're not going to stay long on that. Because one thing that I don't need to rewrite is the fact that I get to do this podcast with two intelligent, informed, Cornell-educated black men, 2/3 of the illustrious trio we have. CC, how you doing, my brother?
What's good? It's CC, still the best rapper and producer in the whole wide world. Still got a god body because I consume healthy products and do towel curls. Still a benevolent servant to the earth and philanthropist. And every phrase I say is still a gem like a motherfucking amethyst. You could put any Cheeto, orange, nigga, like bitch ass, khaki pants, wearing ass, white supremacist, fuck nigga ass, fascist, motherfucking love police, boot looking ass, bitch ass nigga next to me, and every single bad bitch in the world gonna be like, who the fuck, man, is this? I may talk a lot, only got one thing to say. Give all you can to yourself. Take care of your body and your people on your land. I know you be busy every day, but everybody got 5 minutes to do something or has something to say. Or if you don't got time to do that, I know you got time to pay. Where my nigga Chan?
Man, that's real shit. I got two things today.
This nigga added like four more bars to that joint.
Yeah,
that was
bro. Nigga hit the unplugged version, bro. Hit the no music. Damn. He said, "Fuck a beat. I go acapella."
I wanted to start that shit like Pac on Hit 'Em Up. This is what I wanted to do.
In honor of listening to black women, shout out to the Meta Girls. I was really, really impressed with their performance over weekend, SmackDown through Crown Jewel. They just not that I've ever really doubted. I was never in the Lash Legend is dangerous high. To me, that was just I never felt that. But I was never a big Lash Legend person either. And I also felt like Jakara never really wrestled. So I truly had no opinion of her wrestling. But to see them in the ring with those tag teams, it was okay. They was doing their thing. They had some tag moves I had never seen. That sit down powerbomb was ill, bro. And so just shout out to them for just showing up and showing out, bro. I just love that's one of the beautiful things in NXT. When you see people get their moment and they claim it, and it's man, that's fire.
So, wait, real quick, just to cut in, I would say I think what you just highlighted there is actually a microcosm of the larger thing that we were referencing right now. Is that while shit is that's going on, there's a lot of flowers that are being planted, being groomed, and being blossomed right now. So I think it's just on our job to take care of the garden. So, but and appreciate the flowers, especially the Meta Girls. But go ahead.
Yeah, definitely gotta give them their flowers. I like the Avatar bodysuits. That is one thing that I think about every time the Saudi shows happen. Is do you remember when they was wrestling in big t-shirts and Under Armour?
Bro.
And gotten so fly with the jumpsuits, the Deadpool, and was it damage controls was so ill. You had the flare pants. I'm just really glad that they've done something with that, because it was them first couple of shows. It was
it almost makes you forget they have to be covered up, which is
exactly
at the very least your costume, your outfit should do that.
Yeah, it was so painfully obvious with the t-shirts. Where now it's no, that you could just be your gear, if that was what you wanted to wear. And secondly, reason number 4086, I can never be a wrestler, is and this is honestly, I'm not even trying to be political, but I got my flu vaccine, and bro, my arm hurt so bad. And I think about how wrestlers and Bailey just does that elbow drop probably 2 or 3 times a week. I would just be in so much pain. I can hardly sleep right now. And I'm just thinking about, what if I had to just, land a swanton bomb on my shoulder 4 to 5 times a week? I just, the physical, obviously, I know, there's spots and stuff, but I still don't really understand how the human body can take some of the things that they take on a regular basis and not just fall apart.
Or Shannon, it's called being a psychopath. It's called being a psychopath.
Yeah, bro.
That's what it is.
You're a
Yeah.
nut job. Or even just like I was watching, and no shade, because Solo has grown on me. He's very funny. But like I was watching that tag
Trying
match
to
with
tell y'all
Solo, I'm
niggas.
like, he's got good conditioning for somebody that big. Like he's not gassed at all. Him nor Jacob, where it's like, I would be exhausted if I just spent the last 10 minutes sprinting around this ring.
You know
so
who we
like,
can also throw in that category who just surprised me? Bronson. I was like, damn, you were able to do this whole match. You did not look slow at all. Wow.
Oh, it's just impressive that like they can do that. So just like shout out to wrestlers and just like the power of the human body experience. Like you said, there's definitely a mental thing where it's like that's the thing that I could never do. Like I would never be like, yeah, hit me with the barbed wire. Like to me, that's insane. But wrestlers like that's how they make magic. They're like, no, put me through the table. Like
yeah, spear me through a flaming table, please.
and there's just no shot I'm doing that. So honestly, just like I'm in awe. So shout out to y'all, man. Even from like the lowest of low indies to the Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. Like shout out to all wrestlers because like I truly could never, bro. I would never jump off a ladder. Like just never, dog. Like
I respect you for getting it. If you get in between them rows, bro, I respect the shit out you for just for that. Just for that.
You really do me, bro. Fake or not, bro. Taking a bump. Can you imagine like Batista bomb, like a power bombing you on the ground?
The last ride, nigga. The Gunther bomb.
F5, your
that
face?
tsunami gotta hurt, bro. That
bro,
shit.
Absolutely, bro.
Who is it? Nia hit that seated senton. I was like, I know you knocked the wind out of her.
Mm-hmm.
I know she can't breathe, bro. Because the way it hit, it was like, yeah, she can't breathe, bro. She could crack somebody's sternum.
Yeah. No,
shout out to working.
Salute to them, them and their conditioning and their durability. Yeah. Because even me having played football back in the day, I'm like, this is just two different things. Like football, I'm wearing equipment. You know what I'm saying? Like all they're wearing is knee pads, maybe elbow pads, but it's straight skin hitting the mat sometimes. So
they remove that padding and they'll do a DDT regularly, bro. Yep. That apron powerbomb Kevin Owens does, bro, I know that fucks up your back. There's no way you're sleeping good that night. I don't care how tough and big you are, bro. There's just no way that lower back on that hardwood is sitting right with you for the next 24. There's just no way.
For sure. But one thing that should sit right with you is the fact that we are members of the A Show Network. Make sure you subscribe. Check out the A Show every Tuesday on Patreon. Wednesdays public. Check out the War Report every Thursday on Patreon, every Friday on public. And if you want to get early access on the Patreon, subscribe to us, patreon.com/the A Show RNC. Now, before we get into our rewrites for the week, continuing this rewrite of the full Bloodline story, which, as CC and Chan remember in the Discord, we might have to extend based off of what they're doing right now. But before we get there, of course, we got some trivia led by the guy CC. CC, take us to church, my brother.
Well, it is time back again. We got the battle of the ball niggas. No. We got Armand and Channing going at it once again. I think Armand is still undefeated at this point. So it'll be incumbent upon Channing to try to take the title away from him today.
Hey, CC, we should call it the Sadler Lock Challenge.
The Sadler Lock Challenge. I like
fuck
that.
With that.
That's funny. I like that.
Lock? The Rings of Sadler?
You know what? If you listen, the Rings of Sadler is crazy. I like that.
Shout out to my dog Perry. Shout out to my dog.
Oh man! All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm also proposing this since we spitballing here. How about this? If Armand actually continues the streak, then the next time we do trivia, even if it's just like the next episode, we got to do a guest because we got to bring people in for the challenge.
I was about to say, bro, we got to sign a free agent. We got to bring in somebody from a different show or like. You do a trade with Adam Pearce or something, bro.
Somebody got to come out and do that ruthless aggression.
You got to do a call up. We got to do an NXT call up. Get Dion in here.
Sounds good to me. That actually reminds me, I got to talk to you about something off camera, but yes.
Lit.
So let's do it.
All right. So since today we are talking about basically, the whole part 2 to the whole Roman Brock saga when Roman sort of puts a button on it. I wanted to get a little bit into the numbers as far as Roman and Brock. I feel like we've gone into trivia and like done like a lot of random questions, but I just wanted to go numbers just to see. This is more of a test of how quick you guys remember it rather than how much you remember or what you remember. So this is going to be more of a speed thing. So we got 14 points up total, I believe, unless I can't count. And then actually, yeah, I think it's like 14, 15. I'll see when we get to the end. So we're gonna start. First question: who has more solo WrestleMania wins?
Roman Reigns,
Yes.
big dog.
And then for bonus points, there's 2 extra points, so I guess it'll be 15. Yeah, if you can name how many Roman has and how many Brock has.
2-0.
No. I mean, like, this is total
How do you
amount
count
of.
the Rollins one? Because they both lost.
Yeah. So I'm gonna count these solo wins as legit. Like it was a solo match.
No heisties.
Okay.
Yeah, one person versus one person. So
Is it
Roman does have more.
Is it 2-1?
Okay.
No, not versus each other. I mean total.
Like total
Oh,
for each
yeah.
individual.
Yeah, total for each individual. Yeah.
Probably like I bet you it's Roman like 6-3. Oh no, Brock got more than 3 WrestleMania wins.
Roman has
Did I get 7-4?
Roman only has 3 solo wins.
3 solo wins?
Yeah.
Wait.
Wait. Oh, did you mean one-on-one matches or just like total wins like for themselves?
Total wins for themselves,
Okay.
not as a tag team. That's what I should say. Sorry.
I forgot about the Shield.
So this, yeah, because you can throw in the Shield one if you want. You know, it gives him like just one more, but he already beat him or whatever.
It might be like 9-6.
So who you saying Roman has 9 and Brock has 6?
Brock has 6 wins.
So you guess right with Brock. Brock does have 6. That's 2 points for Chance so far.
Does Roman have
7?
Nope. Shannon already said 7. Yeah, 8. Armand. It's funny because Shannon, you said 7 and 9, and I'm like, I can't. I don't want to guide you.
Something like that, because I'm like, kind of a lot, but Roman don't be losing at WrestleMania. Like they'll put him against anybody and win. So I think he had a couple more than Brock.
His only losses have been Brock and Cody. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Brock, Seth,
straight up,
and Cody.
Because the heist, if you don't count the heist, if you don't count.
Oh yeah, the heist. Yeah.
But yeah, it was. And that Rollins Cody was last year, so that's
bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's absolutely nuts.
Mr. WrestleMania.
What was I gonna say? All right. So the next question is: all right. So far it's 2-1. Shannon is up. The next question is: what's Brock Lesnar's record against Goldberg?
1-2.
Yep, that's true, Armand.
I forgot about that first one.
Every time I see this, I'm like, that's so dumb. Why does he have fewer wins? All right, now for bonus points.
All 3 been stingers, man. No, I take that back. One of them was cool. The WrestleMania one where they kind of went for a little bit, that was okay. But
WrestleMania 33, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually part of the next question, which were the ones. So Armand already answered WrestleMania 33. What are the other 2?
WrestleMania 20 and Survivor Series 2016.
God damn. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't know is he can do that with the dates and years. I'm like, it was WrestleMania, Survivor Series, WrestleMania. I don't remember the numbers. I could do 20 because it was the XX and I just remember that logo. But the most of them, like, people are like, oh, it was 36. I'm like, you gotta say who was wrestling, bro. I don't remember.
Brock and Goldberg are 2 of my all-time faves, so I know their history.
Oh, that's
very
a good
well.
point. That's a good point. It is. We have now had a swing. It is now 5-2. Armand and Shannon, just with that question alone. But we got a lot more points on the board, and I think this can go either way. Because yeah, I feel like the thing is as we get into the later times, I made sure we should all remember all of these events. I'll say this is overlap for all of us. I'll say this. So. Next question is, and this is like sort of the last question and everything follows from here. What is Roman Reigns' record against Brock Lesnar?
2-1.
3 and 3 or 3-4. I want to go.
3 and I'm gonna say 3-3. Are they tied? I'm gonna say 3-3.
Oh no, he's 4-3. Fuck.
So here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna let you guys keep guessing, and when you feel like you've got a good answer and you want to lock in, whoever locks in first, they get to keep that answer or whatever, and the other person has to pick something different. And whenever you guys lock in, whoever is closer is gonna win. Now here's how we're gonna do it.
Okay.
If you overshoot the amount of wins, we're gonna do it like spades. If you overshoot, you get penalized. So if you're under, you're cool, whatever, right? So say like it was 2 and you did 1 or whatever, like, and then somebody else did 3, the other person did 3, the person who did 1, they're gonna win because the other person went over. We're gonna do the shit like Price is Right or whatever,
All right.
right?
I'm gonna say
Same
4
with the
and 4.
losses.
I'm
You
gonna
said
say
what?
4 and 4. Lock
4
in
and 4.
4 and 4.
Locking in 4 and 4.
I'll lock in 4 and 3.
You're locking 4 and 3. Armand won. It was 5 and 3. And with that, Armand can take the game unless Channing starts to make a crazy comeback. Because Armand is up 6-2 right now, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 8 points left on the board, and he's up 6-2. So if Channing's able to get, what is it, like 7 of these technically, we can tie this up and then take it into overtime. So the next question is, let's go through all the matches and name at the very least like the event and the year. Again, we're gonna do a lock-in. So like, let's say one of you guesses the event right, but like you guys are trying to guess the year. Whoever guesses like the event and the year and then locks in, and whoever's under or closer or whatever, we'll do the same thing.
Do we have to do them in order?
No, they don't have to be in order, right? So like like say for example, somebody said like Money in the Bank, and I'm like, yeah, Money in the Bank, what year? And then but one of you guys said Money in the Bank 2021, and somebody said Money in the Bank 2022. Then I look at that, whoever has the closest one gets that answer. We're gonna do it like it's a scramble to grab shit.
Okay. So like SummerSlam 2023. Like
gotcha.
that.
Okay. So SummerSlam 2023?
No, 2022.
Are you locking in?
It's still the under thing?
Is it still the under thing? Yeah.
Like where it's like if I go over, I lose.
Yeah, but if somebody hits a nail on the head, then you also lose too. So
damn, I hate that for me.
I know, that's what I'm trying. That's why because here's the thing. This is not like
2022. I don't really remember.
You said SummerSlam 2022? Okay.
I think it was in Nashville, but I don't remember the year though.
All right, what about you, Armand?
That's the right answer. So like
it is.
He got
it. Yeah, Channing got that one.
Greatest Royal Rumble 2018.
Started with the bullshit. Forgot about that match.
Steel cage match that Brock Lesnar won.
Yeah, that's the one where they it was chicanery then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, with the door.
I forgot all about that. I wasn't even counting that one. Well, you was probably gonna get this extra shit anyway.
WrestleMania. Shit, what year is that? Shit, this is always hard because it's in April. This would be WrestleMania 2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That was Roman when he won. So Channing has picked up another point.
All right, SummerSlam 2017.
SummerSlam.
It was a fatal four-way.
Yes, fatal four-way. Yes.
Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, banger.
I like that match. That's a good call. Was it before he was under the table?
Yeah.
It is now
and
4-8.
Then 1 year later, SummerSlam 2018, the first time Roman beat Brock for the Universal title.
Woo! And with that, Armand has officially taken the game by way of just how the numbers work.
But there's also
3, 4 left.
Crown Jewel 2021.
Yep, there
was WrestleMania 34.
God damn it.
WrestleMania 31.
So great plug.
Yep, there's one more left. What is it? Holy shit, this guy is crazy, bro.
This insane, bro.
What match am I missing?
You like heard how casually he was saying that shit?
Crown Jewel, WrestleMania 38, SummerSlam 2022. They did WrestleMania 31. They did SummerSlam 2017. They did WrestleMania 34. They did Greatest Royal Rumble. They did SummerSlam 2018. They had a match between them?
Did they do a regular Royal Rumble?
It's a pay-per-view, but it's a pay-per-view that WWE doesn't do anymore.
They never fought at
Hell in a Cell?
Nah. What they had another match?
They don't do it anymore.
31.
Balls of Fire?
Nope.
Nah, that was
Right.
Brock Samoa.
Same era though. Same era. All of those dumbass PPVs that I did not like.
They did another match in that era? What the?
What's it?
This is
Not-
one of the ones they most recently stopped doing, actually. I don't know. Do they still do it? Do they technically still do it? No, I don't think they
not
do.
Roadblock. What's the one right? Fastlane.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
Fastlane.
Fastlane.
Triple
Yeah.
threat. Yeah.
Fastlane.
2016.
Roman,
Yeah.
Oh, with
Brock,
Beanie Babies.
and Dean, and Roman won. Wow. That did, because that was right before Roman faced Triple H at WrestleMania 32. Yep.
So for all the listeners, one, obviously Armand won. Two, I don't know if y'all paid attention or whatever, because I know we be talking like big shit about certain wrestlers on here, but we just went through Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar's history, and we named legitimately like multiple WrestleManias over a decade, bro, as well as SummerSlams, Crown Jewels, Royal Rumble. Like these niggas that basically made 2010 to 2020. That shit is crazy.
Did this nigga Vince was like, by hell or high water, y'all gonna get Roman Brock. Like, this is going to be the new rivalry.
Some of them, it would be like, okay, this story is plausible. And some of it would just be like the one where we write today, it was like, dog, this don't make no sense. You are
forced the fuck out of it. But hey, man.
I know a title picture. Hate to see Vince pin coming, because he gonna write Roman. He gonna write Roman or Brock into that shit every time.
But hey, honestly, truly, I get it. Like WrestleMania 38 was their first one after the real post-pandemic wrestling, and they were in Dallas, so they wanted to sell that stadium out. So you do winners take all, Brock Roman. Like I fully get it.
Have bad matches. That's the thing. Their matches be pretty good. It's just like it's like kind of like some of the Cena Orton matches where it's like, all right, bro, I know what's about to happen, bro. Like, I see this at WrestleMania again.
Yeah, they all kind of blend together a little bit. That's why it was. I completely forgot about the Fastlane match, because when I think about Roman Brock, I only think about title matches. Like, yo, these niggas were in a non-title match on a non-Big Four. What the fuck?
But what's crazy is there was like with Brock is like there was times where it's like he's been beefing with the whole Shield. But for some reason, it's like it always comes back to Roman. Like that's always the one he got to sell his beef with. Because like they tried to make Brock Dean pop off, stunk. Rollins Brock is always cool, but it's just not Brock Roman. It just don't have the same zest to it. I don't know.
Simple as that. But the title remains around my waist in the Rings of Sadler challenge. So we'll be back, and that was fire. That was very fire. We're gonna run that back for sure. But we got to get into our rewrite. So when we left off, it was Royal Rumble 2022, the infamous show where Roman Reigns lost to Seth Rollins via DQ, got involved in Brock Lesnar's match with Bobby Lashley, helped Bobby Lashley win the WWE title for the second time in his career, and then Brock Lesnar entered the Royal Rumble, won it, and we were on the road to WrestleMania 38. Brock had called his shot and said he wanted to have a winners take all match, title versus title at WrestleMania 38. So whoever would like to go first with their rewrite, take it away.
I got it. Let's get it. All right. So if you remember in my rewrite, I had Brock winning the Royal Rumble still, but like as soon as he win it, Roman just like attacks him in the back room as the show's going off or whatever, and then Paul does the thing where he's like he does the call the tribal chief thing after Roman's like taken away and Pierce makes the announcement. Sorry. So where we pick up is right after that, right? So like Pierce makes an announcement, Brock is out indefinitely. Roman and Paul like come out, claim credit for it or whatever. They do this whole shit, this nigga cheesing ear to ear or whatever. He says he's proven he's smarter than Brock and will have no problem proving that he's stronger too. And then Goldberg does like the whole challenge shit, and Roman, his promo this time is like, he's like, don't you know who I am? Like, don't you know what I am? I'm the tribal chief. I carried this company while you were collecting chump change checks, riding on the coattails of the Goldberg that existed 20 years ago. And Goldberg is like, you may be the tribal chief. I may not be the old Goldberg, but you're still next. And Roman says, Bill, your career is next. And I was like, we just go crazy after that, whatever, right? They play the music. And then Brock Lesnar does his little challenge or whatever. MVP denies it, but in this timeline, my version of it, when MVP denies it, Brock later in the show says that he just comes out and hijack shit or whatever. He says that he talked to Pierce and that he's reconsidering. So MVP might as well come out with Bobby now and agree to the match, because if he's trying to get Adam Pierce to go with something that he wants to do, it's not going to be hard to convince him. He's basically threatening physical violence at that point. So MVP is like, he doesn't come out with Bobby. It's just himself. He says, I assure you, Adam Pierce is actually not reconsidering this. He says, see, I wasn't the only one around here with a little pull that suggested that this wasn't a good idea. And Pierce, even though he doesn't like the other person that made the suggestion, he respects that other voice. So we're getting hints here to Paul not only sort of coming out of like that whole thing where they were just like trying to figure out whether or not he might be helping Brock, but now now we're starting to wonder, like, damn, is he like playing in the shadows now to like hurt Brock or whatever? It's like completely flipped the other way. So then we get to the contract signing. By this point, we get to the part where Roman beats Goldberg. So I left that as it is. I felt like that's how it should have went, obviously, or whatever. There's no need to do anything around that. We keep Brock Lesnar winning an elimination chamber. You put Brock in an elimination chamber, that nigga's winning. That's stupid for him not to win. But immediately after, the Bloodline just start whooping this nigga in a chamber. They put this nigga through like all 4 of the fucking chambers and shit with different types of moves and shit or whatever. And then Roman takes both titles, and then he like holds Brock's titles at his hip. So like the way he's holding the title is like he's holding it, but like clearly this one doesn't mean as much as the other one. He's holding the WWE title up or whatever. So it's sort of like a play on how he threw it the first time or whatever, but this time he's like holding it like he's claiming it. So we get the inkling, of the merger. This is how we start to get that line starting to go. So we get to the contracts signing for the winner take all, whatever. By this point, Brock is pissed. Brock fucks up security or whatever. He fucks up the Bloodline. Then he goes back to fucking up security. Then he gets beat up by the Bloodline. Then he gets back to fucking up the Bloodline again. And then he gets back to fucking up the security again. And then finally, like, the Bloodline is like backing away. They're like retreating or whatever. And the show fade out with Brock just whooping the shit out of security. The show fade out with him F5 and niggas. Whatever. Like, that's how we leave out that bitch. And then the MSG show still is how it goes how it goes or whatever. They start to terrorize each other for the next couple of weeks or whatever. But then like we get to WrestleMania 38, Roman still wins or whatever, does unify the titles. But this is like really where mine starts to change, because if you remember in the beginning of the season, I said that mine is more about a mad Emperor Roman who like is a lot more aggressive and sort of takes the proactive step to make sure that his problems get solved, when he needs to. Other times he'll just be a regular slimy hill, but other times he'll take it to that next level. So right after, he unifies the titles, Raw after WrestleMania, Roman cuts a promo, says that he's been in a ring with Brock before. He's seen the beast with nothing in his eyes, who enjoys pain, even if he's the one that's on the receiving end. He saw those same eyes when they were at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, though, for Brock, his body just couldn't back up that spirit or whatever. And then it's not just because he's getting old. It's not because Father Time. It's not because of all of the matches and damage that was done to his body. It's not even, because he had, some shortage in training or whatever, because he knows for sure that Brock trains more intensely than the next man, Brock Lesnar, before the match even started, Roman says, was physically less strong than I've ever seen him come into a match, because I beat the beast out of him. And then he starts to say, I told you I seen the beast. I know how far he can go. And so I figured I'd start this match before it even started and wear him down. And he basically just goes on to say, like, I knew at some point that Brock wasn't going to go away, that he was going to come back. So rather than wait for him and try to prep for a match or dodge a match or whatever, I figure I'd just start the match early and start beating him before he knew I was even whooping his ass. So by the time we got to the match, he was so broken down and I was still good because it was 3-on-1 that whole time. And how did he win in the match? 3-on-1. And then boom. So he just ends his promo with, damn, I love when a plan comes together. And then that's it.
Like that.
And there we have it.
I can go next. So
Go
I
for
have
it.
a little bit. Mine's it's not a long one, but it's very different. So, now remember at the end of my last rewrite, as a show of goodwill, Paul Heyman got Roman Reigns the night off in terms of defending his title, and Roman had decided to enter himself into the Royal Rumble at number 30. He won said Royal Rumble, and now that is the state of WWE. Roman is Universal Champion and also the Royal Rumble winner. And also has another tweak. Seth Rollins is the WWE champion, not Brock Lesnar and or Bobby Lashley. So we have a promo on SmackDown. Romans comes out. He's like, see what happens, Paul, when you just let me do my thing and like handle things. Now we got the Royal Rumble out the way. Now we have full control over what happens in Mania. We get to pick the match. We get to pick the biggest purse string. He's like, who could I face? Could it be? And he starts just like naming people. He's just like, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Could I face Cody Rhodes? And he starts just like naming shit. Seth Rollins' music hits. He's like, in against as WWE champion. He's like, it's very interesting you naming all these people. Where if I remember how the Royal Rumble works correctly, the winner of the Royal Rumble has to face the champion at WrestleMania. Now you can't face yourself, so that leaves me. And Roman's like, no, that's not no. It's like, Seth's like, I mean, you won the Royal Rumble. Who are you gonna face at WrestleMania? And he's like, we're working on it. And Adam Pearce comes out. He's like, now you do make a good point, Seth. There's no way we can have a non-universe time match at WrestleMania. So Roman, you are the Royal winner. Who will you pick? And he's like, well, give me some time. Maybe I want to pick a different champion. And Seth's like, who could you pick? And he's like, and Paul whispers in his ear, and he's like, I'm going to NXT. Boom. NXT, Roman Reigns shows up, confronts Braun Breaker, sizes the kid up. He's like, you got a nice little spear. I seen your work. You got good lineage. I come from good lineage. Maybe I want to give you a shot at WrestleMania. Maybe the big dog wants to work with the Steiners and, really have a good, WrestleMania, moment. And, Braun is still in his, like, he just beat Dolph again. So he's still like pure babyface Braun. And so he's like, I would be honored. Like, that would be amazing. Like, I would love that. But, you can't just show up on NXT without Seth Rollins pulling up in the hoodie. You can't just show up at Seth's home. So, my guy Seth pull up in the hoodie, jumps Roman, all straight bullshit. You're talking about you're ducking me. There's no way you're getting Braun Breaker before me. You know you're not better than me. Everyone here knows you're not better than me. And if you face Braun Breaker, you will cement the fact that you are scared of Seth Rollins. And so that becomes kind of like the big change that Roman Reigns is scared of Seth Rollins. And so they start just like beefing at shows, just tagging each other on Raw. And eventually the Adam Pearce sits down. He's like, you know what? You're right. You guys should, you might face each other at WrestleMania, but it's not going to be that easy. You both need to earn it since there's no Royal Rumble winner. So you know what? Because you guys have such a long history and you guys know each other better than anyone, I'll let each of you pick what you guys want the other to do. And then an elimination chamber will make that happen. So Roman's like, all right, easy. Seth, you're elimination chamber. And he picks Bobby Lashley, the same people in the Elimination Chamber. And Rollins is like, okay, give me a week. I'll come to SmackDown and I'll tell you what you get. And he's like, he shows up on SmackDown and he's like, I was just thinking, about something you said to Braun at NXT. It's just, you said he had a nice spear. And I think you definitely should face someone with a nice spear at Elimination Chamber. Cuts to Lars Jumbotron. Roman, you're next. So Elimination Chamber, Seth Rollins in a valiant effort, enter at number 6, wins the Elimination Chamber. Essentially what happens is that Bobby Lashley, still enraged that he lost the WWE title before, is pissed. He starts at 1, wrecks shop, eliminates most people, but towards the end of the match, MVP slightly distracts him. Seth Rollins gets the win, and then similar to the match that Goldberg had with Rock, Roman gets the win. So at WrestleMania, we are set up. And the whole kind of theme is like, who is the best? Kind of like they do the home, I'm going hometown, I'm going to train. They do all the Shield vignettes where they like very beautifully cut out Dean Ambrose, unfortunately. And they really kind of hype up like this is going to be the time we're going to figure out who is the best between these two brothers. So the match starts off as most Roman, Seth matches do, go really big back and forth. Seth works the lower back and or the shoulder. And you have, typical bloodline chicanery, but in pure white meat baby face, like, Rollins fashion, he fights off all members of the bloodline, and it's just an incredible effort. And, he's got the crowd up, everyone's going crazy. Paul Heyman is stressed out. He's talking about my tribal chief get up. He's, tuning up the stomp. And unfortunately, it's Brock Lesnar shows up. He's pissed. Not only is he pissed because Seth Rollins, he feels like, in which he says in the match, he's like, you have stolen one WrestleMania from me already. You're not going to steal another one. And so he F5 Seth Rollins. Then he picks up Roman Reigns, and then Paul Heyman enters the ring. And if you remember, also my rewrite, there was a match between Roman and Brock where Paul Heyman was the referee, where he lowballed Brock and he lost. So Brock is pissed at Paul as well. And so he sees Paul, and for a moment, the beast takes over. He drops Roman. He F5s Paul. Then all the security comes out. Then, he beats them up, but they eventually get him out the ring. And Roman, first to get up, Seth Rollins, after suffering a fatal F5, unfortunately, just doesn't have the heart, takes a spear. Ooh-wah. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is your unified WWE Universal Champion.
That was a roller coaster, man, because I initially thought you were going to go winners take all triple threat and add Brock into the mix, but still found a way to include Brock. I fuck with that.
That was
and the whole picking the opponents thing. Woo.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a cool thing, especially like because they like are good talkers. I would love to see them kind of do like a contract signing where they're like trying to figure out what would piss the other one off.
So, yeah, because Roman would 100% say, "All right, you go into the chamber, nigga."
You want to burn it down? All right, like.
Wow, that was great. I fuck with that. Mine is very simple, to be honest. It won't take long at all. So, Royal Rumble happens. We go to Raw first. Brock is the Royal Rumble winner. He's telling Bobby, like, I'm gonna beat you for that title, and I'm still gonna do the winners take all at WrestleMania. Adam Pearce is like, nah, like it's not happening. Absolutely not. But then he announced the Elimination Chamber. He puts Brock in. So that's still the same. We get to SmackDown. Roman Reigns is feeling on top of the world. He's like, I still got my title. Brock is not a champion. That whole winners take all idea he wants to do, it's out of here. Similar Roman promo that he's always had. He's like, I beat everybody. There's nobody left. Like, what am I gonna do? I can't take WrestleMania off. And Paul Heyman's like, Roman, sorry. Now that Brock is out of your past, there's one more thing that you didn't get to do. There's one more demon that you kind of need to expunge. And Roman's like, Finn, I already beat Finn. Paul's like, no, there was a match you were supposed to have. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you weren't able to have it. And the people want to see it. And I think that you need to beat this guy just to prove that you can do it. And Roman's like, okay, whatever. So Paul Heyman introduces Goldberg. Roman's standing there looking pretty cocky. He's like, this guy, I was supposed to fight you 2 years ago. That means you're 2 years older than you already were. You can't last in the ring with me. I'm at the height of my powers. I'm the tribal chief. I'm the head of the table. There's nothing you could do. Goldberg's like, all I need is 5 minutes and you're next. And Roman's like, okay, word, say less. So we get to Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns, funny enough, Goldberg like seals his fate saying all he needs is 5 minutes because Roman Reigns puts him to sleep in 5 minutes. And then Roman's cocky as hell. Like, he's like, WrestleMania's coming up. I don't know who I'm going to face. We'll see. Elimination Chamber happens the exact way it did. Bobby gets hurt, has to leave the match. Brock wins it. So now we come to the contract signing, the epic contract signing. Honestly, I'm not going to change anything there either. Like, that was honestly incredible. But Brock in his rage and taking out all the security guards, at Roman standing with Paul at the top of the stage, and Paul's reminding him, he's like, you still haven't beaten Brock Lesnar clean. Like, yes, you protected me from him, but you still haven't beaten Brock Lesnar clean. And like, you see this rampage he's on. And Roman makes his like mad face where he's like twitching. He's like, all right, at WrestleMania, It's just gonna happen. Now, my only issue with this story, the way it actually happened, is like Roman ran through Brock, like their entire rivalry. Like there was a couple shows where Brock got the best of him, but like for the most part, Roman ran through Brock. So I'm gonna flip it to where in the lead up to WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is whooping Roman's ass. Like Roman comes to Raw to talk shit, Brock beats his ass. Brock comes to SmackDown, whoops Roman's ass. Brock takes out the Usos too. So when it comes to WrestleMania, it's just Roman versus Brock. Like, and the Usos didn't interfere. It was also a shorter match because of Roman's injury. So we don't know if the Usos would have interfered, but Brock makes sure to clear out everybody. And then and like even at the MSG live show where like Roman made Brock bleed, like as Roman standing on top of the stairs holding up the two titles, Brock gets up and F5s Roman onto the stairs. So like going into the match, there's concern about Roman's health. Like they almost babyface Roman in the way that Brock is continuing to whoop him. So we finally get to WrestleMania. Roman comes in with like bandages around his stomach. Like people are like, "Yo, like it's over." Like so there's absolutely no way he's gonna do this. But so similar to how Chan's match finished, Brock is whooping him. Paul tries to get involved. Brock gets enraged, pulls Paul into the ring, F5s Paul, rolls Paul out of the ring. Brock turns around, spear. Roman Reigns pins him. Match over. So he still technically didn't win clean, but this is all in the lead up to SummerSlam 2022, the final match that Roman and Brock have, where Roman will get that opportunity to actually beat Brock fair and square by himself for good. And I'll have some machinations to do that because obviously in real life it was a last man standing match and the Usos got involved. So can you win clean? Can you win clean in a last man standing match? Like that kind of removes the whole clean trope from it. But yeah, that was it, man. Real simple. I just think, Paul putting someone from Brock's past, especially in Roman's way, flipping it to where Brock gets to kind of beat up on him a little more. And then Brock's former relationship with Paul Heyman and how that gets into his head, ultimately leading to his demise again. So real simple there. Yeah, that's
it's like a small thing, but it's like one thing I do really like about Roman when it's like acting skills is like when you get a confused Roman, he like does a really good job. Like he's really funny. So like I can clearly picture being like, Finn? I already beat Finn. Like, he just,
exactly.
he like scrunches his face up. He's like, what are you talking about? Like,
exactly.
And he would definitely say it like so flippant, like, Finn, like we Finn.
What are you talking about, wise man?
Yeah, Finn. Yeah, because Jay and like would be like real serious. You like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, 100% agree, man. But yeah, that's what I got. So let's jump into our not so pre-write. I'll start off just because it's a perfect segue. I talked about this earlier. We're gonna have to extend this Bloodline rewrite because they're still going with the story. I love it. I love the fact that Jay is still being presented as the Jay that we've come to love while Roman was away, the Jay that's been on Raw, being his own superstar, getting his own entrance. Like personally, me, as soon as they reunited at Barclays, I was like, yo, are these niggas gonna enter together? But I like that they had Jay enter by himself because it shows there's still some kind of there's still some ways to go before it's fully all love, all respect, all, loyalty. So Jay coming in, being super popping, Roman looking like he's hating on the turnbuckle, and then having Roman take the pin, finally, like having him take the pin in the tag team match, solo pinning Roman, like it's just so much good stuff. I saw this thread that was explaining the Jimmy Uso aspect of all this. And obviously he's been really important like in recent times. And even honestly, like in the Sammy portion of it, in the turning, he was the first to turn on Roman, then he turned on Jay. Like they explained Jimmy as he makes bad decisions because he has fear of being abandoned. And so when Sammy hit Roman with the chair, it was like, obviously, I'm not going to roll with Sammy. I'm going to roll with Roman because Sammy was disloyal to Roman. I'm going to help Roman handle Sammy. And then when Roman was being like real disrespectful toward him and Jay, and he could tell like Jay wasn't really fucking with it like that, like Jimmy betrayed Roman on behalf of Jay. to show that loyalty to Jay. And he essentially forced Jay to turn on Roman too, because Jay was real, like, still like, nah, you still my tribal chief. We still the ones, blah, blah, blah. And then when Jay has the opportunity to become champion, Jimmy and like he explained it in that promo after SummerSlam 2023, how he didn't want to lose Jay. He thought Jay would become champion, become tribal chief, become this big asshole, and like he wouldn't be the Jay that was his twin, the Jay that he knew and loved as his brother. And so even now, with Sammy being back in the mix, Jimmy is jealous of Jay and Sammy's friendship. Jay went over to SmackDown, tag team titles with Cody Rhodes. He has one more tag team title reign than Jimmy does. He's got new friends in Seth and Sami Zayn. He and Sami Zayn reunited. So Jimmy's jealous of Jay and Sammy's friendship, but Jay is intent on, like, I trust Sammy. We're going to keep Sammy around. And so the Jimmy aspect of it, his psychology is so interesting. So that adds another great layer to it. I love the Sammy edition. I love he's like, man, it felt good to be in that ring with y'all, but, it's never going to happen again. So he's going to take some time to get worked on. Solo's improved his character work. Jacob Fatu, I feel like he, his moveset isn't all that impressive to me, but, he has a couple moves that are really good. Like, it's really like the gas that's poured on Jacob makes it, when I watch him, he kind of doesn't impress me as much as the internet makes him seem like this incredible elite generational talent. Like, he's good. Like, he's really good. But there's certain moves he does that are kind of whack. Like that, like Impaler DDT, that's a whack finisher. Like you could do a couple cool things. Like if you're going to have that fire pop-up Samoan drop and that fire moonsault, like everything you do needs to be fire. Like maybe I'm nitpicking, but nah. But yeah, man, the Bloodline story, I am so just amused at how they're able to keep it going, keep it interesting. And I know some people feel like they kind of rushed the OG Bloodline reuniting, but I'm like, prior to Roman coming back, the new Bloodline was starting, like, it was repetitive. Like, they just beat everybody up. They just all win. Like, you kind of got to give them some adversity. And so it was good that they lost at Bad Blood. Solo had lost to Cody twice. Now, like, Jimmy's back, Jay's back involved, but the OG Bloodline lost. And so this creates some humility within Roman because Roman took the pin. So now Roman needs to humble himself. He needs to, submit to the guys, and he also needs to go apologize to Sammy, bring him back. And I just love, it's a storyline that makes you think, and it also really makes you kind of evaluate it from a human standpoint. Like, as much as it's a scripted show, it's stuff that you can relate to. It's like, nah, man, like if I was in Roman's position and I took that L, I would probably have to sit and think like, damn, I need somebody. And as much as prideful as I am, as much as I think, I could do this by myself, I kind of do need that dude. So yeah, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, and that's evidenced by you just talking about Jimmy like that. One of the biggest things that stands out to me is that what we're watching is a storyline or set of storylines not somewhat centered around one person, but like I'm interested in the futures of and predicaments of multiple characters. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if I watched Stone Cold, and then when Stone Cold was in a feud with Shamrock, then I cared about what Shamrock thought. But like anytime after that, I didn't really care. You know what I mean? So like the difference with this one is as time goes on, like for example, when Jimmy was away, people were anticipating Jimmy. I know Jimmy was anticipated as this thing started to go on, but like he was never anticipated like this ever, like coming off of a quote unquote injury or whatever, time away. And then like the pops that he's getting is crazy or whatever. Like he's not gonna be too far from Jay if he continues to do stuff that he's doing. So, and then personally for me, fucking Solo's hilarious. Watching Tama Tonga like find his personality and like just be hilarious too. I'm also like, I don't know if y'all paying attention, Tonga Low is getting more comfortable. Like he's starting to be, you can feel like doesn't feel like as like, what am I doing? Like he's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. So like I just think about that, and then all the people around it. To your point, like Sami Uso, Sami Zayn, Paul, whatever. And then I'm also thinking about, I'm like, bro, like there's a point where like Ava can get involved, Nia can get involved in this shit, like on their own little branches and shit like that, just like a TV show. had their own little shit. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, and like to your point, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see this shit end, bro. I don't. There's no point. I'm not like pressed to see this end, and it would be really cool to see just how long this could go, because that would be just cool to see.
What y'all are saying is valid and very mature take, but nah, man, I don't like Roman eating that spike in a pen, bro. I don't like that. I think it's just more so I don't actually like the Samoan spike as a finisher. I think that's really what it is that like even when Umaga was doing it, it was just like your thumb is that hard, bro. Like, and so seeing him like eat two of those and then the pen was like, I get it. It's like one of those things. It's like working out where it's like this sucks, but it's gonna get me closer to something that's better. So like it's cool, but like I would prefer not to do that again. Also with the entrance stuff, I do think it was very interesting, but I will say that when it first happened, I thought something was wrong. I thought like Jay was injured or something. I'm like, where the fuck is Jay at? And then when he came out by himself, and this is not Jay's fault. This is whatever arena they had Crown Jewel at this year's fault. It doesn't have the proper like stadium stairs that Jey Uso comes down when he does his entrance. And so there was like a long portion where he was kind of just like walking behind people and you couldn't really see him. And then it would cut to Roman looking like this is stupid. And it was like, yeah, it does kind of look a little stupid, but it's because there's not the normal place. And I do wish they would have had the first time Roman saw it at like a proper arena where it really does hit, because then him hating would have been like even more like, there is some real like jealousy there because like this is really cool. Whereas like it was cool when he did it at Crown Jewel, but like it wasn't the same as when they do it at like an actual arena where it's really just one long flight of stairs and you can see him the whole time. And so that was like a minor thing, but like it just kind of struck me as like, oh yeah, it doesn't look as cool in this small space, I guess. But Roman's all like,
I agree. Like I just every time I watch the show, I'm just like fucking Crown Jewel, man. Fucking Crown Jewel. Every time. There's always one or two things. Every time I see the women come out, I'm like, fuck.
It's really weird because they make it a big deal. Like this was a longer card than Triple H usually does. This was like seven matches. This was damn near Saudi Mania. But you know, they were talking about it on the A show, and I thought about it. It was like, yeah, I like the Bloodline match. It wasn't as great as it could have been.
Sure.
I really liked Cody Gunther, but that was obviously like, we're gonna give y'all this, but we're also gonna, but we're also good. We're gonna save a little bit. We're gonna save a little bit because we're gonna spin back to this. Everything else on paper looked really good, but I don't. And I'm typically the type of guy who goes back and watches PLEs like a good amount. Anytime I just need something random to watch, I'll put PLEs on. I don't know if this will be a rewatch for me outside of like a couple matches.
The women's back was good, but that.
Yes.
Basically, that was my favorite match of the whole night.
Fantastic.
But to your point, it didn't bang as hard as the card on paper could have banged. Like if it could have really been a stellar pay per view, and it was like it was cool. Yeah, nothing blew me away, but this was cool.
And I feel that way about like last year's, the year before, like for 2022. And y'all know I have a great memory. Like I only remember Roman versus Logan. There was a Judgment Day versus AJ and the Good Brothers, Braun Omos, but like I don't even remember these matches because they were necessarily really good. I just remember them because I remember them. So yeah, I don't know. Crown Jewel is interesting because these shows are objectively better than pre-2021 when they were just doing random non-canon stuff. But I don't know. They haven't like struck gold on like a really fire Crown Jewel to me yet. Like there are individual matches that I remember, but I can't say the one show is really banged all throughout. And I mean, no wrestling show is going to be perfect,
right?
But there are shows this year where we could be like, nah, like that was good all throughout. Like WrestleMania Night 2 was good all throughout. I thought SummerSlam was good all throughout. I thought Money in the Bank to me was good all throughout the show. And yeah, Crown Jewel is just like it's really it kind of reminds me of like a card for boxing where you're going to see Pacquiao versus Mayweather. you'll watch the matches that happen before it, but even if they're really good, you may not necessarily remember them. But Crown Jewel really fluffs up the PLE. Like it's presented as this really big thing, and on paper you're like, oh yeah, we in. And then you watch and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think part of it for me too is like I think it is of the consistently doing shows like overseas, the oldest one. Like it's like they started doing the Saudi ones first. But to your point, the other shows are like more memorable. Like those Clash at the Castle matches are way more memorable than anything that's ever happened at a Crown Jewel. And I think that's like part of the issue is that there's because they don't have like any really big Saudi wrestlers. Like they have Sammy and stuff, but like it's just not the same as when like Drew wrestles in Scotland. Like that feels almost like a truly like a movie thing. Like they're so excited to see him. And I think when they don't have the big title changes of the actual Big Four, there's no like gimmick like War Games or the Royal Rumble. So you don't have the highs of the Big Four in terms of changes or gimmicks, but you also don't have the hometown hero of being overseas. It does feel like sometimes it's like, oh, this is like, like we were talking about Great Balls of Fire. Like this is cool, but I'm not looking for Great Balls of Fire to have any classics on it. It's just like, it's a cool pay-per-view and maybe some random match will pop up because they got random matches on here. But yeah, it's like maybe an Unforgiven level pay-per-view, but it's not a Survivor Series, which it presents itself as, to your point.
Yeah. It's literally just a PLE in Saudi. Like it's treated like it's a damn near a Big Four, but the quality is more like a B level, C level type thing.
Like it's really like it's cool and it's some cool Armageddons, but it's nothing where it's like, oh man, this SummerSlam, I gotta lock in this weekend. Like, I never feel that way.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's
my. I can go next because mine's quick. Shout out to Fallon Henley. She won the Women's North American Championship, which growing on me as a look. I didn't necessarily like the red at first, but I'm liking it more now. I do like the women's mid-card belt. I think NXT does a good job of using it. And I also feel like Fallon Henley is one of the NXT people who, like, it took her a second to get started. Like, she was with the tag team at first. Then she kind of did her own thing. And now she's heel. And now, like, with the big coat and the hat, it's like you see her catching her stride. And it's like, again, I was talking about earlier, like, this is the beauty of NXT is that, like, you see them take their baby steps. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's Braun Breaker, two-time Intercontinental Champion. But I remember his first match. Like, I remember NXT 2.0. Bro, was it my dog? Who was it? It was Braun, because it was like 3 dogs and then Von Wagner. It was like Ciampa, Breaker, Von Wagner, that first NXT 2.0 match. But, like, I just remember watching that match being like, yeah, Von Wagner clearly does not belong with the rest of these people. But, yeah, that's just such a cool thing in NXT. So, shout out to Fallon Henley. Wish her nothing but the best. Shout out to Kalani Jordan. She did a great job. I'm sure she's on to bigger and better things. I mean, she is. She's in that big, seems like 10-woman. I don't know if they'll do like a tag, War Games, whatever they end up doing, but it seems like she's going to be involved in that. So, like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. It's happening tonight. No, I don't want to date this, but yeah, literally once NXT happens, it's Kalani, Jordan Grace, Zarya, Julia, Stephanie Vacker versus Fatal Influence, Cora and Rox. That's going to be that shit might steal the show, no cap.
Yeah, no, bro, they be working like them. Who did Stephanie and Julia? I mean, I never slandered them, but like I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah,
like, I don't watch a lot of overseas in indie wrestling, so like watching them. That's another thing in NXT, which like you see a new wrestler, like okay, that's cool. Like this is a side note, bro. I remember the first time I watched Gunther, I was like, say no more. It's like Walter. I was like, this is it. Like I see I see what you guys are talking about now. And then I literally went to watch like YouTube matches because it was like you just feel it when you first watch them. That's kind of how I felt watching them. It's like, okay, I see why people are talking about them. This is cool. Yeah. I mean, I like the horns, very Maleficent coded. So I just love the new talent on NXT. It's very just as someone who, like I said, doesn't watch indie wrestling, it's cool. That's how you get all these different people. Shout out to TNA as well. Shout out to Jordan Grace. Still getting them with WWE checks. I see you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah, she fired. Yeah, speaking of fire ass people and dogs or whatever, and also one thing I was thinking about was badasses. not people who call themselves badasses, then made wrong choices in the booth. I'm talking about badasses like Braun Breaker. I'm also talking about badasses like Shayna Baszler. I'm also talking about badasses like um, Bronson Reed. Um, even to a point like, Final Testament to a degree. Um, War Raiders, one thing that I think that's consistent about the E right now is that everybody who's supposed to feel like a tough guy actually feels like a tough guy. And like if I don't know if people now realize this is the reason, because like now looking back, it's obvious seeing like at the change. But like with Vince gone, it's like, oh, it's like one of those things where it's just like, oh, it must take like a badass to recognize a badass. Or like to be able to produce one. Because Triple H's character was a badass in like many different respects and many different iterations. And I think Vince McMahon wanted to be a badass, but he was just a bad person and he confused the two things so that he didn't know how to like truly produce like a badass kind of like person. Again, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest. I can name multiple as we're going right now, like fucking Julia, goddamn Stephanie Vaquer, Zarya. They just literally brought in 3 badasses from overseas, and immediately I'm like, yep, all these people are badasses, all 3 of them. I believe it. It's like, yeah, my point is just like Triple H at the helm right now. It's just very clear to me, like in creative, it's just like, oh, all of the, like, I wonder how much shit we's missing out on people who's trying to get a badass character off before, because Vince was like saying no to certain things and only allowing certain things, or like maybe pushing for certain things or whatever. And I'm just like, damn, but I'm just happy to see it's well executed now. It doesn't feel like corny with anyone. And if there's ever a time where things start to feel corny, they like lean into that shit or whatever. So yeah.
It was a lot of like,
Yeah.
he's not a badass. He's just very large. Like,
Yeah, like Bobby Lashley never felt like a badass to me, but he definitely felt like some guy I never wanted to fight.
Like Braun Strowman is a monster, yes, but is he as scary as Kane? No. Like he's just big. Like, but I don't think he's gonna set me on fire.
I mean, maybe this is the inner child talking, but like Tess felt more like a badass than a fucking JBL was a badass.
What helped
JBL was a
badass. Up, they just had hardcore matches, and so it was like easy to be like, oh, Al Snow, he's a badass. Why? Because he can take a lot of punishment. He can get his ass beat with a trash can lid for a long time. That's why he's cool.
Yeah, Triple H has done a great job of giving us heels with purpose. And not that Vince didn't do that. Like, I don't, like, Vince definitely had his flubs. But I think every heel turn that we have seen under the Triple H regime, everyone has been like, yo, I understand where they're coming from. It's not just some, like, what is this? Like, Drew's heel turn, I get it. Liv's heel turn, I get it. If New Day breaks up, like, and Woods goes heel, I get it. Like, all of them really make sense to me. And so it's great because that just adds more to the enjoyment of it. It's not like, oh, you're just a bad person doing bad stuff because you want to. You're a bad person doing bad stuff because of what you dealt with in the past.
Even the non-heel turns. Think about Grayson and Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was gonna be like under Vince, that would have been an easy, like, okay, we obviously gonna see there's a heel turn or whatever, but they pump faked it and they're continuing it so that when it really happens, it's really gonna bubble up. Sorry to cut you off, but like, come on.
No, you're good.
Love that. Like Theory is so far from a badass, but like Vince really wanted him to be that. It's like, no, he's just big. Like he's not scary at all. He looks like a kid.
And that's why you have to write in him kind of like being shaded by his partner, because when he does go edgy, he has to have a reason, to Armand's point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so Triple H is just he's made it like he's kind of like spoon fed it to where it's like, okay, like I can at least track this and I get it. And again, not that Vince didn't do that, but it makes more sense and it's more fitting for this era. Like there was a lot of shit Vince did in his last couple years where it was like, nah, bro, like this ain't it. This ain't it at all.
It's almost like, to your point, Triple H's problem, if he has one, is the opposite, where it's like, okay, bro, you've telegraphed this. Let's do it. Let's knock it out now. Whereas Vince would be like, wait, he's a heel now? He's bad now? Like, it would just be you watching the show, you wouldn't even know what happened.
Chad Gable deserve every check, every week, every year of his motherfucking life until he passed away just for Shorty G alone. Because that was, nigga, you would have had to fight me. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's like Stardust level bad.
That's crazy. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I will never forget that shit, bro. I will never forget that shit.
I was pissed. I was a Chad Gable mark, man. Yo,
Dog.
American Alpha came up with that grand amplitude, bro. American Alpha was my shit. Like losing Jason Jordan. When I saw Jason Jordan in SummerSlam 2023, I had to tell him, I was like, yo, I really loved American Alpha. Like, I'm sad that you're not in the ring anymore. But my God, I love them. And I rocked with Gable. Like they paired him up with Shelton Benjamin. I was like, all right, like I'm still rolling. They paired him up with fucking Robert Roode. I was like, yo, I'm still rolling. Gable, I fuck with you. And so to see him where he's at now is it's incredible. It's great. But yeah, I agree. Triple H, and I'm a patient wrestling fan. I'm a patient wrestling watcher. So I will see the vision and I'll go on that ride with you. But I do hate long car rides. I'll do them. It's kind of like a necessary evil where I know I got to go on the long car ride. I'm driving up to Cornell. I'm driving up to Syracuse. I'm driving down to DC. Like all right, I know, but
we just need some scenery.
We can't make too many stops along the way to where the trip gets longer and like
no stops, just scenery.
No, Hunter gonna overuse the bathroom.
You know what? But bathroom break is fine. But if you need like 2 snack stops, nah, that's too much. That's too much. Like let's get to our destination before it's too late and I can't hit the liquor store for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get there, man. I'm trying to get drunk, and I think the biggest example, while I do still see the vision, is this Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax stuff. Like, don't do too many teases. Don't do too like think about it. Like, as men who have dated, like if a girl teases you a little bit, it's like, okay, cool. Like I'm willing to engage, but with the expectation eventually you and I are going to find our way to each other, make this happen. If you just only playing around with me, but you don't actually want to go out with me, you don't like, it's like, all right, I'm off this. And I love Tiffany and I know she has a bright future and I'm really fucking with what Nia is doing. But every time Nia has a PLE match, I'm like, we gonna do this shit again. And I keep tricking myself into being like, all right, Tiffany's gonna cash in this time. How's it gonna play out? And then it doesn't play out. I'm like, God damn, bro. Like, come on now.
And it's gonna be the time you don't expect it. So it's gonna be that random SmackDown or some
that's
shit.
That's exactly why I think they keep doing it, because to Shannon's point, it is going to be that. It's gonna be a random SmackDown or a Raw, and that's why they keep doing all this shit. Because when it happens, it's real. The pop is gonna be crazy because you're gonna be like, oh wait, it's really happening. Oh, it's really happening. Like,
I love a cash in where it's like, oh, we're doing it. Fuck, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, oh, this is happening.
And to be honest, there's only 2 ways to get there, right? There's only 3. There's the Big E way where you call your shot, but you just don't know when or whatever. So that's like a half and half. And then there's like the completely not knowing when, just like, lurking in the shadows, never knowing. But with Tiff, she's on the complete opposite extreme where it's a constant, like, it might happen. And like, she's like the girl who cried wolf in a sense. And it's like, I personally haven't seen a girl or boy cried wolf story with the Money in the Bank case a lot. Like, if I'm thinking about it, I can think about maybe like Austin a couple times.
That's what I was about to say. That's
but like there wasn't,
or
too, where he. But there was nothing this consistent, like where literally these two people were hanging out and traveling together, and then every time she has a match, she's like, "Oh, are you about to cash in?" So, like, I think there's something unique about that. Like, to Armand's point, that I do like the long car ride or whatever. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, my nigga, like, you got to Royal Rumble at this point, because I'm not. Yeah. I'm gonna get out the car at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. And especially because like another good thing about the H era is he's had women hold the Money in the Bank briefcase for longer. So EO had it for like. Well, she only had it for like a month, but that was the longest time a woman had held it prior to like Carmella, who held it for almost a year. Otherwise, it was I'm cashing in that night when I win it or the night after. And so with Tiff, it's like, this is kind of a novelty. This is something that we have to be a bit patient with because he is making an extended story out of it that's going to benefit her in the long run. But my thing is, the thing I liked about the long Money in the Bank holders for the men is that they would almost treat it as if it was a title. Like they weren't coming out every week saying like, oh, like, you know, I'm gonna cash this in, or every PLE. Like there was some PLEs where you wouldn't even see the Money in the Bank holder. Because once you start doing that teasing, the expectation grows like, okay, now you actually want to start winning a title. I'm expecting you to win it soon. And part of it is on me. Part of it is on us to kind of be like, be able to distinguish, all right, they're making their intentions clear, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately. But like Damian Priest, for example, he held it for mad long. He didn't actually start trying to cash in until I think the first real attempt was Survivor Series 2023. That was November. He'd won it in July 2023. So it took him a while before he actually was really starting to cash. He would like walk to ringside during Finn matches and be there, but he never actually tried to cash in. And then he tried in like January. He tried like one more time, and then finally at Mania we get that big moment. So it's like, if you want someone to be a long holder, you have to like just let them have it, treat it as if it's a title. Because when you do the teases over and over and over, people understandably get a little impatient. So
I think
that's my only qualm.
The trick too is that you need to have them have a feud that's not around the championship. Like sometimes they'll do the thing where it's like they're feuding over the briefcase and like winner gets the briefcase, or the person will just have a feud. But like you need to keep them preoccupied with something over here so they can loop around. The issue, like you're saying, is that her and Nia were already tight, and she hasn't really done anything else since winning it. And so it always feels like she's about to cash it in, to your point.
Yeah, bro. Priest was tag champion twice while he held the briefcase. Like
both them belts and the briefcase, bro. I was like, I know they put you down. Like that's the thing. You forgot. You weren't thinking about it because you had to carry all this other stuff. It was kind of ridiculous. Like, thinking back to it, like the red, blue, and the purple. It's like, all right,
insane. But red plus blue makes purple. So hey, man, it works out if you're looking at the color wheel. But yeah, it's funny because with Priest, people were mad because he didn't try enough. People are mad with Tiffany because she's trying too much. So like you got to find that perfect middle ground. But it definitely fits her like ditzy privilege type character. Like it fits, but it's just I just want a little more consistency because last SmackDown, she was getting bold as fuck with Nia, talking about, hey, Nia, don't feel too safe. Like, I might cash in on you. But prior to that, she was being mad, like, subservient to her. So it's like, yo, like, which one is it? Like, you just kind of flipped real crazy. And then at Crown Jewel, you go in, Nia sends you away, you walk away, and then you come back, but you didn't actually do anything. And then Raquel gets involved. So it's just kind of convoluted. But like I said, I'm riding in the car. AirPods in, snacks are here. Like I'm good, but we don't need to get to our destination soon because I know I'm gonna have to start peeing again soon. So yeah, that's that. But listeners, that is the free version, public version of our episode for this week. Wishing you all peace in this trying political time. I know if I can speak for myself, the 2016 election was like Drew McIntyre losing at Clash in the Castle. And then this election was like Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania 39. You know, Clash, it was like, oh, there's no way Roman's going to win. Drew's hometown. There's no Usos there. There's no way. And then Solo pops up. The WrestleMania 39 is like, there's absolutely no way Roman's going to win this. And it happened twice. But, you know, hopefully we were an escape for y'all. And, you know, I would say just, you know, all the things that you love to do, all the things that bring you joy and entertainment, do them. You know, mental health and peace and joy throughout these crazy times is paramount. So for myself, for Chan, for CC, all you public listeners, we will be back with y'all soon. Patreon listeners, stick around because we have, of course, our Patreon segment loaded up for you.